Oh, welcome. Hey, Doro, good to see you.
Oh, good to see you now.
We do have an internet connection. That means the communication with the mind of God is reinstalled. Yeah, thank you so much. Well, we are inviting here we had our kickoff session a couple of weeks ago, and the theme of the invitation of getting on board with the Course in Miracles is an invitation to walk with us to an entrance to a new me, a new you, which is our remembrance of a new beginning. And so we were touching in that initial session also about, for those who are not familiar with the Course in Miracles, something about the history of how the Course was given to the world, and for which purpose it was given and is given as a message from out of time, and what through the words of the Course it is offered to every human mind in order to remember. We are really here in together in an amazing journey to invite each other to remember who we are, and therefore to remember what our source is, to remember that literally, there is a higher power that we call or may call God, but it really doesn't matter how we call that source. It's really about that we acknowledge that there is um, a source of causation, and lets us remember that we did not create ourselves.
Yeah, Egyptians would say, Alhamdulillah. Thanks God. Yeah, and it's really our salvation. This is really like I think I have this in mind so many times now that I'm so happy to find this course or actually the course found me. um because it feels so true, and I really feel it's my salvation, because as long as I believed I'm part of this world, I'm part of this illusion, uh, I just suffered. I was just in drama. I always thought, what is this like? How can this be? How can this happening? Um, go through this world to work, to do things you don't like, um, to do things you don't like. Um, yeah, and I'm really grateful for this course. So we wanted to share with you, what does it mean? What are the truth of A Course in Miracles? What are the principles of A Course in Miracles? Because it gives you such a, I always say, or I always feel um, what it says and what I am, and that we are created by God, and um, there's nothing else than love, and our connection to Him, and it's always there, and He always speaks to us the whole time, even if we don't listen. Mm. but we can, so it's so much to remember and to recognize that. I always love this picture of like letting go of everything what we put in front or in between God and us, to see that there's nothing, actually, there's nothing else than love and peace, and we're all connected. We are one, actually. And joy.
Yeah. Yeah, and you're mentioning already something that is really, I would say, the pavement of of this entrance to the new you, or the acceptance of the means to use this work, A Course in Miracles, that is a written work, but indeed it is really a guideline in my mind, a thought form, an alternative thought form that directs me to remember where the way home is directed, to remember with whom I'm dealing here, to remember with whom I'm communicating. And so I could hear from your talk, dear Doro, that I mean, it's basically a complete miracle that we can communicate and even talk personally about that. A couple years ago, that would have made major difficulties, and maybe would have been for many, many years only possible through a telephone line that I would call from here, from United States, or from any part in the middle of Europe to Egypt, and would need to pray that some cables going through the Suez Canal are still intact. No? And of course, that is you see that the idea has not left its source. The kind of doubt or that kind of fear is still around now, a little bit further south. But anyway, so I think that's amazing, really, that you are in Cairo time, and Christiane is in German time, and I'm here in Central Time, Midwest US. And we can actually join in an idea that we all know, and everybody who tunes in and will listen to that recording can tune in exactly at that moment uh, to the same content, to the same idea, beyond anything that would connect us or bind us with the world. And that's really an opening for myself to start to fully realize that minds are joined, and there is only one mind thinking with the mind of God. And this is really all there is. And as you said very correctly, there isn't really anything in between. In between my self-concept, my self-identity, my me telling me, well, I'm here housing in a body and by myself in that apartment, and nobody is hearing me what I'm telling literally to myself, and have a communication opened up that I call with Christ in within myself. And the truth is, everyone who tunes in that same necessity, I need also a connection with a power greater than myself, with that I call an almightiness, maybe, or I call an infinite extension of thought, whatever terms we give to the idea of God. Because of course, the moment I give an idea to that I cannot really describe, it is just an idea in the mind. And through the joining, we are coming literally to an experience that shows us that this is real, that this is true. And this is amazing, because it is through a simple activation or activity in our mind, an action of mind, through, I would call it through the means of allowing that here a new perspective, a new thinking, a new experience can come can come to me, which is no longer guided by my own past and past connection, but guided what I call then as this extending power of God's mind, the Holy Spirit, the Spirit mind. And will bring me, exactly as you said, will bring me a new joy, a new love, a new happiness. And so, of course, everything will, by this experience and realization, change. Our perspective of what I think I am as a human mind and what I live in a human life and observe myself or can perceive projected to another is changing through that allowance that here a new experience is taking place that literally shows me that I'm dreaming here and shows me that the dream that I make up or repeat to dream is the word would be interrupted, literally, penetrated and interrupted by my invitation, by that I would call now a representative of my whole self that comes literally from my entire whole mind and interrupts my dream sequence that was nothing else than dedicated to death. And so all experience of depression, of anxiety, of any form of fear is still in that connection with the death idea. And but and we might go there and have a look what that really means, because that is the only reason that a human mind, a human consciousness is even yearning for an alternative and would come and say, okay, I'm listening to you guys and I'm joining with you because I'm not happy anymore by just dying and dying over and over and needing to prove myself that I can't die through sickness, through whatever accidents, and hurting myself, not just physically, but of course also mentally, emotionally, in an attempt to annihilate myself, to prove to myself that I would be powerful enough to extinguish what I truly am, because that can never be touched by the ego mind. I can only go ahead and went ahead for thousands of years in order to exterminate literally what I thought I was. But what I truly was, I could never touch. The ego can never touch what we truly are. And so the one who represents us, that alternative, and brings us that alternative and teaches us what to do, and we can look really at this lesson, no matter if we get an auditorium who says, I'm just interested in this Course in Miracles and I have no idea what it's going to offer me or teach me, but we can use a lesson of the day. And we started on the 1st of January and are today on the 155th day that offers the idea, I will step back and let him lead the way. That him is really my release, because that him, that representation of God, that Holy Spirit manifestation, I'm supposed to find out who that is. Everyone, all religions have that contact with the Holy Spirit. And they are in prayer and meditation and in their temples and in their synagogues and in their whatever churches form of worship. And it's not really so difficult to establish that, re-establish that, remember that for oneself in the silence of prayer and meditation. But to recognize that in you, in the next one who stands next to me, that's a completely other ball game, so to speak. No? That's a step offered now through this message of Christ mind within the Course in Miracles. I'm supposed to really find that in all my associations, if I believe I know them or I don't know them, and I'm directed, I will step back and let him lead the way. Is literally my answer is, ah, yes, yes, I can relax. Yes, maybe for the first time, I don't need to defend myself. I don't need to prove anything to myself because I'm told that he will lead the way. I do not need to lead the way. That's an amazing progress and accomplishment within our awakening. And so in the lesson, if I'm starting here out with a sentence at the end of the third paragraph, he will tell us that they, and he's talking basically about a me in the past and how I set myself up in the ignorance, or I need to control everything, I have to do everything myself. I'm doubting this contact and so on. And so he says, so he speaks about the human minds. They cannot learn directly from the truth, he says, because they have denied that it is so. They have denied the truth is true and nothing else is true. And so they need a teacher. And that teacher is now capitalized. It is a teacher T capitalized. It's not a teacher that I know from when I went to school and went through education. It's really the teacher that teaches me my own homecoming, my awakening within my own mind. He's literally that one whom we recognize in all the religions as the prophets, the saviors who took on that responsibility to teach themselves only that contact to God. A teacher who perceives their madness, who perceives the madness of the human conceptual separate mind, but who still can look beyond illusion to the simple truth to them. So that is the quality that we are opening up, that we offer now in what we share, that we want to bring to fruition so that we do remember, okay, simple truth, the simple truth in us is beyond illusions. It has nothing to do what I think about it with my perceptions of the past, how I can discuss it, how I can bring any conceptual knowledge to it. It has nothing to do with that. It has something to do and only to do with self-realization.
Yeah, thank you, Devavan. And it's the total opposite to what we learn here. I mean, when you say, yeah, what we understand when someone says a teacher is like what, how we associate it is directly with a teacher at school. And like everything we learn here is upside down from what A Course in Miracles says and what's the truth actually. So it's really important to me again and again to remember that, to and even if we see, especially when you start to study A Course in Miracles, and you think maybe, okay, everyone is thinking like me. And like, how can this be possible that there is another truth? And even if you have an idea, because you feel that there's something wrong, but you're still so much conditioned, you are so you lived, I don't know, 20, 30, 40, 50 years in this world, and you believed in rules, in laws, how it's working here. It can be a shock. It can be such a shock to see, okay, so how and why I put so much effort, so much power, so much time and everything in like making careers, studying, I don't know what, in all this belief system, in the ego system, trying to follow the rules. And then you realize, okay, oh my God, this is not true. And even sickness, I mean, A Course in Miracles is very clear about what means sickness and healing. But maybe this in another session. So yeah, but it's such a release then to when I read this lesson and I understand more and more, and I really ready, or yeah, just trying maybe a little bit to really experience this. There is someone who's guiding me all the time. There is something talks to me all the time. And I really want to step back and to experience, what does this mean? What is it about? And like, but it's it can be such a relief, of course. So yeah, amazing to experience this. And then like I just continue a little bit. This is the simple choice we make today. And it's really simple, because it's okay, it needs my decision, and then I can just observe, experience, but there's actually not a lot to do. The mad illusion will remain a while in evidence for those to look upon who close to come and have not yet rejoiced to find there were mistakes in the choice.
Who chose to come.
Okay, and then I maybe have another.
Everybody has chosen to come into his dream, to come in time space. No? Is making clear here it's a choice.
They cannot learn directly from the truth because they have denied that it is so. And so they need a teacher who perceives their madness, but who still can look beyond illusion to the simple truth in them. Yeah. This is what you read already.
Yeah,
okay.
That is the third paragraph.
Just realize now, but
maybe you read something of the continuing, the fourth paragraph. It's also really interesting.
Yeah.
Comment on that.
So, okay, the fourth. If truth demanded they give up the world, it would appear to them as if it asked the sacrifice of something that is real. Many have chosen to renounce the world while still believing its reality, and they have suffered from a sense of loss and have not been released accordingly. Others have chosen nothing but the world, and they have suffered from a sense of loss still deeper, which they did not understand.
Yeah. Well, let's look at that.
Yeah. Just open the light.
So maybe I start out, yeah, and you can arrange your light. So what that really emphasizes, and it's very important that we hear that, is because we're all coming from sacrificial ideas about how can I wake up? How can I reestablish my contact with God? I have to give up the world. I have to give up my loved ones. I have to give up my families. I have to give up my job, and so on and so forth. I have to give up what I like. Maybe I like some ice cream. I'm supposed to give up my ice cream in order to wake up. No? And so on and so forth, thousands and thousands of things. No? And this is what was preached since thousands of years by the religions, that you literally have to give up in order to establish your contact with God. And that's why he sets here the premise in the teaching to he lets us have another look at it. Is that really so? You know? And what we have to learn is that that objective means that we wanted to give up has really nothing to do with our contact with God, with our relationship with God, with our self-realization. Because that what I have projected there as what was then maybe either sinful or overindulging or whatever it was, uh, given a meaning and a category, is really just the focus of the mind towards goals of the world that have more value. But now what we are taught is, if that focus on parts of the world is more valuable and more important, then we rather be about it and rather live them and rather use that enjoyment in order to use up any limitation that an idea of the world brings about. Because, of course, everything that is part of the material world has its limitations. And everybody knows that. Everything gets lost that has a material sense. Everything has a beginning and an end. It doesn't have anything of eternally of an eternal quality in it. And so, of course, if I'm using that as the means to experience my self-realization, then I will run into pictures that show me, and now I'm gonna lose that. Yeah, I'm gonna lose a loved one whom I mistook to be a body. I'm losing whatever was shared as a sequence and identified as love, because it just shows me its transitory nature, that it started out, it came about in the dream, it had its as a wave its peak, and then it disappears again. And I was basically placing my reality yeah, we call it wrong-mindedness or wrong perception. It's literally a wrong identification with reality. As long as I know I'm just dreaming it and I'm just enjoying a dream image, but I know also I will wake up from that dream, no problem with it, because then I'm in a constant acceptance of its nature of coming and going, of its change. And so it's interesting that he uses the word choice. I have chosen. I've chosen to renounce these images because I thought I would be then either faster at the doors of heaven or with God, or if I renounce, if I let go, if I'm not doing that, if I not that was us in the monasteries and in the caves of the Himalayas and just meditating and praying, and in that sense trying to prove to ourselves how dedicated we are with the contact with God. But we didn't succeed because the idea didn't leave our mind, and the idea was, but I want to experience that. I want to have an experience and with human love, for example. No? So we couldn't bypass really the idea that was already in our mind. And now that is the newness of the message, that Jesus comes in and say, no, you be completely yourself in your dream, and you go along where your heart leads you, where your passion leads you. But remember that one is walking with you, and it will be me. I'm walking with you, and you're invited to share with me everything and to use me on your way in your experience of your human uh, experience of everything falls apart. Because those are the small death experiences.
Mm-hmm.
I love it.
Yeah, and it's really so amazing when we're willing to experience this. And I had exactly the same picture what you just what you just said. There are the eremites in the caves, there are the monks in the monastery. Like, and I mean, I live here in Sinai, close to Moses Mountain, and it's um, sometimes I now I see it more clear, um, that I'm kind of drawn to live like a similar life, because sometimes it seems easier, not to deal with people. Not to go to the village and all these annoying children are asking you for money and so on. um, so and it like as much or whenever I realize, I start identifying myself with oh, I like this more and I like that more, or this I don't like, and I start following this, I'm totally in the ego, and I'm totally in like I let life kind of live me, instead of following the Holy Spirit. And yeah, so this is something very important in my experience, that it's a process of becoming more and more aware of my strategies, needs, behaviors. I learn through different things in life. But the important thing in all that is like really like zooming out, observing, and then when I can start see more clear, then I really can make a decision. Then I really have the choice. But before, I don't feel I have a choice. I just following life. I'm just doing things whatever is I taught in life, or people told me I have to do this and that, even if I don't feel this is right. But this is like how it works usually. So, and now here I get the how to say it's the permission, the I really have consciously the choice. And this is really what gives me freedom. And this starts to to have joy. So yeah, I have it in my hands, kind of.
Mhm.
Um,
Yeah,
and
the
this is
power of decision.
it's
Ne?
something
You
beautiful.
realize the power of decision is yours.
Yeah.
Ne? And even here in the world, even in every
Mhm.
dream image, we do choose what value we want to follow, ne? Or what we want to give value. It is, of course, once only once all values of the world are experienced in their limitations, that we say, okay, I'm now choosing really for God and only for God, né? Or what comes from His mind. Né? That is not a sacrifice, and that is not a renunciation. You know, I'm not withdrawing from my mind and from ideas in my mind, but it comes naturally through and shows me. And no, my mind is already directed to a higher goal, or
Mm-hmm.
what is more valuable, simply what is more valuable. No? It's all about values when we start choosing in whatever our experiences are offering to us. And now, see, the difference also would be, okay, there might be a process of experiencing, and every one of us has allowed that, of being liberated from sources within the dream that had a grip on us literally. No? And so I needed to take a decision, make a decision of saying, okay, enough of this. I don't want that anymore. No?
Mm-hmm.
But that is kind of the first part, or the initial part in where the mind becomes settled in the communication with the Holy Spirit, with God's mind. But once that certainty is there, that he is leading me, He is leading the way, He is guiding me, He's showing me, He speaks through me, He acts through me. And then it's really about what I'm gonna do now with that channel that is open, that energy that is flowing now through my mind. And of course, the simplest way, and this is how the course, including this today's lesson, is putting it, I'm about to bring happiness and joy to all my world, to you, to my brothers. That is the second part of the journey. Without completing that part, I will always be stuck in my hole of darkness, in the black hole, which is a representation of death. The moment I'm about of living my function and bringing the happiness and joy to all of myself, of course, I will get it back immediately. I will receive it. I will experience it. Oh my God, what I'm getting back is even thousandfold than what I'm giving. And it makes me very, very happy. Né? And so that we becoming free from all the commandments that came from that Moses brought down from Mount Sinai, which was for a certain time period probably very important and helpful. But it, as we know also, it led the human mind into a check mark. Okay, am I living it? Am I not killing anybody? Am I having the one God above all gods, and so on, you know? And it became, in that sense, only a following another set of laws, which was still placed conceptually within the dream sequence, because everything was connected with dream images, how to live those laws. But where we're finding ourselves now is really going completely beyond all the laws that are understood conceptually, and see that the law of God doesn't even connect anymore to anything in our dream as representations of past images, and teaches us that the one law of God is simply that joy, that happiness, that love, which is an inner quality of beingness, what everyone is. And so, therefore, an opening to uh, to the heart of hearts, so to speak, in order to bring forth what is eternally the truth. And this is also where he goes back and teaches with us, or learns even with us, this lesson 155. I will step back and lead the way. Because from that, what we were just sharing, he gives the perspective that between this path in plural, that we chose, the renunciation or the sacrificing, there is another road that leads away from loss of every kind. See, if I'm living up the 10 commandments and I think that there is something I still would like to do, I will suffer the loss. But now I'm shown beyond, I'm shown a way that leads away from a loss of every kind. For sacrifice and deprivation, both are quickly left behind. And this is the way appointed for us, for me, for you now. And now I'm going to go down a few more paragraphs to
Mhm.
uh, 2 paragraphs further down, where it says, all roads will lead to this one in the end. And how he talks about the one way, the one road. For sacrifice and deprivation are paths that lead nowhere, choices for defeat and aims that will remain impossible. All this steps back as truth comes forth in you to lead your brothers from the ways of death and set them on the way to happiness. This is for me a completely crucial
Mhm.
expression, because this is now the
Mhm.
second part I'm supposed to fulfill for myself, to lead my brothers from the ways of death and set them on the way to happiness. This is how we fulfill our function. And their suffering is but illusion. I have to recognize that in my mind. Whatever my brother
Mhm.
in its suffering offers is still just how I was myself suffering in the past, and still would hold that image real for myself in my mind. But yet they need a guide to lead them out of it, for they mistake illusion for the truth. And that guide that I say, okay, this is the Holy Spirit's manifestation, this is Christ consciousness, or ever present and always on my side and always with me, is now shared with whomever I meet as my brother. And this is where I do recognize then, okay, we can actually make an agreement and accept that we have the same guide and we follow the same guide, and we follow that guide where he leads us, because he will only lead us to the truth. He will not leave us on the timeline in the world. He has no intention of an awakened mind and then again dying over and over again in within the world or as a body in the world. And this is what we remember. And it's very important, because some of us have more access to that death experience, and that means they stayed maybe a moment longer in a death experience, in a complete dissolution, where there's all just dark, where there's all just emptiness, where there's nothing there, where there's maybe, because it's not really fully aligned with the truth, not recognized what it really is, and is still associated with a desperate state of mind of being nothing, literally being nothing. Yeah. And so what needs to be found, and what that guide is offering, what that guidance offers, is to literally not stay in that observation of what is nothing, but to find what is everything, what is literally nothing is literally everything, and what is experienced or perceived as darkness is literally what the light is. Yeah. So that is, for that we need the help and the guidance, so that I can acknowledge in that remembrance of death, that this is actually really my life eternal experience. Yeah. And so I don't need to choose an emotion that I had over thousands of years or in previous times, and still bring along, where I could say, well, I just feel completely desperate in that, because it is a complete devastation in the mind when we touch death, né? But are capable then to enter into what the experience of life eternal is, which is again pure. That is what pure love, joy, and happiness is, or a peace beyond any description. So what we actually learn in that, and this is also, it makes me so happy to just remember it, is that my idea of death, I cannot no longer hold the idea of death in any reality or making it real as something that is confined, something that is contained, and I can say, well, here's my death experience. No? But I basically can be in an opening of the mind where I realize, wow, I'm actually just remembering that I'm not this body, I'm not part of the world, I'm not part of a process that is subject to death. I'm actually at the point of recognition that there is no such thing as death. I might have an image, a picture still from the past. No, the ego will say, no, this is death, this is death. You know, you're dying right now again and again and again. And the experience truly, when I look there and be there with my whole consciousness, is no, that such a thing doesn't even exist. You know, I'm actually in right now, I'm just going beyond anything that could die. I realize that nothing is there. I'm not there. Nobody's there. Nothing has any meaning. Yeah, it's completely meaningless. I literally recognize what my dream is in its essence, nothingness, and allow to remember what is really present in that nothingness, which is what everything is. That is what God is. I just need to see that it extends forever and forever and radiates, because it's actually, that is what is pure happiness. No? That is happiness beyond any thought or feeling or emotion. And I think that is really what is offered in that lesson also.
Yeah. Yeah, so it's a process of realization of what I'm not and what I am. What am I really? Like, what's the what I am? Yeah, in truth. And yeah, this is so much fun. This is is really a such an incredible journey. And I want to read a little bit further, because yeah, even 8 is like where I stopped when I read this lesson today. Such is salvation's call, and nothing more. It asks that you accept the truth and let it go before you, lighting up the path of ransom from illusion. It is not a ransom with a price. There is no cost, but only gain. Illusion can but seem to hold in chains the Holy Son of God. It is but from illusions he is saved. As they step back, he finds himself again. So yeah, it's really, it says, or it shows us again, or it reminds us again what this world is, what this world taught us, what this world is telling us all the time, is you have to let go of this to get this. And there's always something you will lose. And here it says, like, literally, you will just win, you will just gain, you will never lose anything which is true. So and this is something, yeah, this is a miracle again. what we are already, like, there's nothing we can, it is complete already what we are. So there's nothing we can lose. There's nothing we can even add because we're perfect. We're whole already. And it just gives us the opportunity to feel free, to how's it written here, like to the chains will just fall. Mm-hmm. When I realize there are no chains, they can hold me back. And I also love this picture is always explained in A Course in Miracles. It's like you have the key already in your hand to open the door of the prison and just step out. We just forgot. Okay, so let's remember.
Yeah, and the chain is truly the way of thinking. Huh? The chain is
yeah,
really
totally.
well, I want to see it that way, no? Or that is the meaning that it's still, I want to have it that way. No? That's the chain, no? And that needs to be loosened. No? And yeah, of course, at the moment we don't hold on to an interpretation of past experience, then it is the death process becomes the awakening process. It's okay, there is a moment of a complete collapse, but immediately can open up if I let go. If I let go, it immediately opens up to what light is, no? What God is. And that is very valuable for everyone who wants to begin this new journey. No? And of course, everyone has already made spiritual experiences, but to clarify that and to see, oh my God, I have here really a guidance and I'm not alone in that. And I can really accelerate it to the point that I don't need to be there in that death experience for more than an instant. No? And in that instant, I just need to recognize that none of this is true. It's not there. I'm not that. No? And yeah, and here I go and go home with all of myself. No? And he calls it then as a safe walking in the next paragraph. No? Walk safely now. No? Yet carefully, because this path is new to you. No? And you may find that you are tempted still to walk ahead of truth and let illusions be your guide. No? That temptation is still there. You know, I want to have it thus. I'm right in how I interpret how the way is paved or how the guidance is given. You know, that's quite that takes a moment. No? What did you want to say?
This is always in my experience. It's like, now I got it. I got it. I have the idea. Now this is how it works. Okay, so I'm trying to in the next situation. I'm trying it the same way, and then I realize, oh, it doesn't work like this because I still need the guidance. I'm still not God. I'm still not. Yeah, I'm still in a human experience. Maybe I
Well, the mind needs to
explaining it that
learn.
way.
No? The mind needs to learn what an illusion is, no? Because it says
Yeah.
here to let illusions be the guide. No? So I need to learn what does the illusion? What are the qualities of an illusion? No? Because I made God an illusion too. No? So I need to recognize and learn that what an illusion does is keeping me on the timeline, is offering me still an experience on the timeline. That's what an illusion does. The truth doesn't do that. The truth anchors me literally in the here and now, in the present moment. It doesn't offer me to look into the future, of a better contact with God. Ne? It says, hey, what you have now, what you experience and recognition is, this is what you are and this is all you have. And now now live that moment forever, never leave that present moment. Do not look neither to the past nor to the future, because that's where you place the illusion. The ego can only operate in making illusions true if I agree to hold the past and the future real. Ne?
Yes.
So I
Yeah.
have a very simple means to figure out, to recognize what is an illusion. I only need to look. Does it guide me to the past or does it guide me to the future? And both of it is an illusionary way. And this is what we don't want
Yeah.
anymore. And this is where we recognize, okay, I'm not going to allow illusions to be my guide any longer. And then he adds on, your holy brothers have been given you, have been given me. I have been given holy brothers to follow in my footsteps, in your footsteps, as I walk, as you walk with certainty of purpose to the truth. See, that certainty of purpose can only be established through that contact with his mind, allowing the teacher to teach me and then literally learning that what he teaches me and continue teaching in the same frequency. That means also offering only what is revealed in the now. That's all. That's all that the teacher ever will want and will teach, to anchor us in the here and now. You want to continue reading?
Yeah, I just also just want to add that, like, yeah, I see, I agree completely, because this is really something very important. What the mind is always trying, the ego mind is always trying to plan in the future, or to solve the past. And yeah, and really experience, or like learn to really just live in the now and
Yeah.
nothing else.
And the ego will not
So
stop from spiritual ideas. The ego will say, hey,
never.
let's get up the mountain and make a sacrifice, and sacrifice a goat or whatever. It has always, and it will always. It's now just more refined. Now it says, well, let's have tomorrow a light experience. Yeah. In tomorrow's session, we're gonna have a light experience. That's how the ego is dealing in nowadays with it. No? But it will never invite in the now. No?
So the paragraph 10, huh?
No, it's still
You
in the
finished the
9 of
9?
the purpose to the truth. It goes before you now.
Okay. It goes before you now, that they may see something with which they can identify, something they understand to lead the way. Yet at
Very
the journey's
interesting. No?
ending.
Very interesting, no? Because here's the challenge, something I can understand conceptually, no? Something I can still grasp and hold on. No? Give me something that I can hold on. No? That's what he's talking here about. No?
Hmm. Mhm.
Give me an idol. No? Give me anything that
Yeah.
is idle, that is leading me the way I can. Any holy man will do. No? Any image will do. Yeah. That's the last
Or a
defense in
person.
the ego,
Mm.
literally.
Mhm. Yet at the journey's ending, there will be no gap, no distance between truth and you. And all illusions walking in the way you traveled will be gone from you as well, with nothing left to keep the truth apart from God's completion, holy as Himself. Step back in faith and let truth lead the way. You know not
You know not.
where you go. You know not where you go, but one who knows goes with you. Let him lead you with the rest.
Beautiful. Ne? That's it.
Mm-hmm.
That's it. Yeah, and then further on, he talks about the final journey, no? That at the end of next paragraph. I mean, it's just all really great stuff, and this is our final journey, which we make for everyone. We must not lose our way, for as truth goes before us, so it goes before our brothers who will follow us. We walk to God. We walk to God. We pause a moment and we reflect this. This is it, you know. We walk to God, you
That's
know.
it. That's it.
That's it. And that means, you know, and that's it doesn't matter if there's somebody who is just starting his way and will start using A Course in Miracles, or somebody says, I'm doing that for 20, 30 years, you know, it will still be the same invitation, the same acceptance. Okay, yes, this very moment, I walk to God, you know, I give my mind literally, it's a surrender. I give my mind to God, you know. I pause a moment and just reflect on this. Yeah,
Yeah, and for that there's even for someone who's studying A Course in Miracles the last 20, 30 years, doesn't matter. It's just now.
right, right. Well, I think that concludes our, our session very well.
Mm-hmm.
That is awesome. That is great stuff. Thank you, Doro. Thank you, Christiane.
Yeah, thank you so much.
I think
Thanks
everything
for
is very
joining.
clear, no?
Mhm.
Very clear and easy and simple teaching indeed, no? That just establishes us in the truth this very moment. No? We don't need to look to anything or anywhere else, just to rest in God.
Yeah.
But still, of course, it needs to be looked at what was conceptually held valuable or real, and that is an action of mind. You know, it is a conversion, I call it. No? It's converting that giving the meaning and the value and the truth to illusions, and then literally say goodbye and say, no, that's not the truth. You know, I'm not gonna follow this old teaching anymore that still keeps me on the timeline, because on the timeline I will
Mhm.
only re-encounter death. No? And indeed, it's only one death experience is more than enough, no? Because it opened up and revealed the truth and light. And in that sense, also somebody listening to us must have had a death experience. Nobody can hear that who would not have and join with the same experience. No? And that's why to come to A Course in Miracles is for those who had at least a nanosecond, a moment of a complete collapse in their conceptualization of themselves, no? And their self-concept.
Mhm. And I can choose when it will end,
Yeah, we
even if there's
choose
no time.
to see it differently, you know. We choose to
Yeah.
see that what it opened up, no? We don't stay in that perception of where there was nothing and only darkness. We actually uh, go, because it's a thought extending. We go to what is communicating with everyone and is
Mhm.
everything. We go literally, that's what God is, no? In death there is no God, né? Because it's still a
Yeah.
concept. Né? Yeah, nice. Okay, my dear ones, and I have still another song to share, and then we just be
Yeah,
about
please.
that. Yay. Thank you. Thank you, thank you. Wonderful. Love you.
Thank you so much.
See you next time, next week,
Yay!
same time. Ciao. Thank you, Christiane.